We will now start the Coupa Supplier Portal training, also known as the CSP. I wanted to mention that CSP is a free tool for suppliers to manage and maintain company information, purchase orders, and invoices. Everyone will be receiving an email similar to the one on screen to register for the Coupa Supplier Portal. If you do not get the registration email, please email supplieronboarding@dxpe.com. When you receive the email, please click on the link to the bottom. This will direct you to the CSP registration and login page. I would recommend everyone save the link as a bookmark for easy access in the future. Once on the registration page, on the left-hand side, you will fill out your first and last name, the company you work for, and your email. After registering, you will use the right side to log in with the email and the password you created. If you ever forget that password, use this link down here to reset it. Since I have already created an account for this demo, we will go ahead and log in using that. When you first log in to the CSP, you will be presented with the option to take a tour of the website. If you ever need to gain access to this again, it will be located in the Help section on the top right. Today we will be covering the following tabs: the Home, Profile, Orders, Invoices, and lastly, the Admin tab. I do want to mention there is a couple important notes to keep in mind while using the CSP for DXP. All suppliers will still receive purchase orders as usual. Master POs will come from P21, and the CSP will have a copy. Now let's begin with the home page. This is your public profile where any company using Coupa can connect to you. To the top right of the page, next to your name is a drop-down arrow. This has account settings and notification preferences. Let's go ahead and jump into account settings. Here you can modify your name, email, and the password. Next is notification preferences. Here you can turn on and off notifications via the CSP, email, and text message. Please note to turn off any notifications for new orders received, since you will still be receiving P21 orders as normal, which is why you will be turning them off. The CSP is primarily used to create invoices and issue credit notes. Lastly, in this section is security and two-factor authentication. Here's where you can apply additional login verification via text message when signing in to the CSP. Now let's go ahead and jump into the Profile tab. Here you will be able to set your company's background to a custom background of your choice. Next is the Edit Profile. This is where you can edit your company's information. Company name. You can choose a logo for your company. What type of industry you're in. The year you were established. Short description. The number of employees you have. Any websites or social media links that are associated to your business will be placed here. The address of your business, primary contact of your business, and lastly is identification and remit to. Note both sections are locked for privacy. Once you have everything set up to your liking, go ahead and push save. You should see a pop-up that says your company information was successfully updated. Go ahead and jump back into Edit Profile. I would like to cover the Remit To section and the e-invoicing setup. Here you can add, manage, and deactivate your legal entity. The setup and managing of a legal entity is one and the same. We will manage one of mine as it provides a good example of the information needed to create one on your own. This can be done by selecting the Action button. In order to add a legal entity, you can select this one up here. Here you will enter in your company name and the country associated. Next, you will fill out the addresses to where your invoices come from. You can also use this address for remit to and the ship from address. Next is your tax country, tax ID, and any miscellaneous. Next is where you want your payments to be received. This is where you would fill out your remit to address, the banking information. You can also manage multiple ones and add multiple ones. Next is where do you want your goods shipped from? Fill out the address, manage multiples, or add multiples. Once you're done, select the Done button. You should see a pop-up that says Setup Complete. Congratulations. This legal entity can now be used on new invoices. We're going to take this shortcut and jump into the Orders tab. Please ensure when you're in the Orders tab that you're selecting the customer to DXP. In the middle section, you will see an information bar regarding the purchase orders themselves, as far as the purchase order number, order date, the issue, whether it was acknowledged, the items, any unanswered questions, the total, and the action column. In the action column itself, you have a gold stack of coins to create invoices. You also have a red stack of coins to issue credit notes. Let's jump into a PO by selecting the order number. In this section, you will see detailed information regarding the purchase order. In the line section, we'll show you the items on the order in detail, like the item itself, quantity, unit of measure, the price, and much more information. To the bottom, we have 3 important buttons: Print View, to print a paper copy of the PO, Save, to come back to your work at a later time, and lastly, Create Invoice. Please note, if you are enabled via the CSP, then the CSP is the preferred invoicing method for DXP. At this point, DXP is not rejecting invoices submitted via a different method. However, our long-term goal is to do so once we get through implementation and smooth out the transition period. But if you have a large volume of invoices with DXP and would like to internally increase efficiency, please reach out to our supplier management team at supplieronboarding@dxpe.com. And we can take a look at partnering through electronic invoicing such as EDI or CXML. Do note, suppliers that invoice through the CSP will increase processing time and gain efficiency by catching errors up front. Now let's go ahead and create that invoice. On the left-hand side is general information. This is where you will enter in the invoice number itself. You can also change the date and the currency. You will be able to see the status of the invoice, as well as attach any images and add any supplier notes as necessary. To the right in the From section is where you will enter in the Ship From addresses, as well as Remit To, right here. Next is the To section. This is where you will see the customer and their shipping address. Please note to add the tracking number to your invoices. Next is the Line section. This is where you can edit and manage any of the items inside of the PO itself. Next, we have Tax and Totals. In the Taxes Totals section, you will be able to enter in any freight charges in shipping and any surcharges and miscellaneous. In the tax description field, please do not fill out box number 1 or 2. Only fill out box number 3. As a supplier for DXP, it is likely you would not have to include taxes. At the bottom, you have the Calculate button. This will calculate any totals from the Tax and Total section. Submit the invoice itself, save it as a draft, or you can delete the invoice itself. We're going to go ahead and send that invoice and submit it. Please note, before you submit this, The invoice will become live once you submit it. In order to make any changes or delete it, you will need to contact DXP's AP team. With that being said, we're going to submit. Next, we're going to cover the Invoices tab, which will provide a detailed summary of all the purchase orders flipped into invoices. Once again, please ensure that the customer is selected to DXP. In the middle, you will have the same information bar that looks like the same on the Purchase Orders tab. Except on this one, you have the Actions column, will have a pencil to edit, and a red X to delete. Only drafted invoices, please note. If it is already approved, you do not have that option. You will need to contact DXP's AP team in order to get that switched. Lastly, on this page, you will also be able to create credit notes. This can be done by referencing the invoice number itself. Now let's take a look at the Admin tab. Here you'll be able to add and manage users to the CSP. By selecting Invite User, you can fill out their first name, last name, their email. Set their permissions to order, invoices, and profile. Always ensure that the customer is selected to DXP Enterprises, and then click Send. Last in this section is Electronic Invoices. This is just another quick link from the Profile tab. It's in the Admin tab to set up your e-invoicing. This will conclude the CSP demo.